Now, we've been speaking about O.J. Simpson's infamous court case this morning, but Oscar Pistorius, the only double amputee in Olympic history, was released in January after serving nearly 9 years for the murder of his model girlfriend, Reeva Steenkamp, who he shot and killed through a locked bathroom door at his Pretoria home on Valentine's Day in 2013.
But more than 3 months on, he hasn't been able to secure any work. It is reported that a member of the Paralympic Committee, the International Paralympic Committee, called Pistorius too toxic to work with.
So what opportunities should be open to him now he's served his time? Dr. Keri Nixon is here with us, forensic psychologist. Keri, thank you very much. Look, for someone like this, who is famous worldwide, what kind of options do you think should be available to him now?
I think what's really interesting in this case, offenders should be able to work. You know, when we look at offenders who have come out of prison, have done some programmes, gone through rehabilitation, it's really important that moving forward for their risk, they are able to find work. However, with this case, we've got a man who still denies that he was in any way abusive to his girlfriend, that he denies that he meant to kill her. So he's not showing any signs of being rehabilitated. You know, the fact that he has been ordered to attend domestic abuse programs as part of his parole, but yet he still denies that he meant to kill her. I think that's one of the reasons why he's being deemed too toxic to work with. And also the fact that he kind of thinks that he can go back into the same kind of work, to work alongside the Paralympic, organisation. I think that shows that he's still kind of quite arrogant. And I think that's the barrier to him finding work that he wants.
And also, just in terms of the criminal justice system, as you mentioned there, you said it smacks of arrogance. But actually, shouldn't they have managed his expectations as to what he could possibly go for? What sort of jobs might accept him?
Absolutely. Anybody that leaves prison has to understand there's going to be barriers to certain type of work because you have a criminal history. And to expect that you can make a call to two members of the Paralympic community and expect to go back into that work is completely deluded from his part. You know, yes, he should be able to work. Yes, he should be, he served his sentence, now on parole. He should be able to be part of his community. But he has to manage those expectations, as you say. And he is still under parole. He's still got a sentence to serve.
How much of this, Keri, is amplified by his celebrity status? The treatment that he's getting now is different, I'd assume, to someone who didn't have that profile before he committed the crime.
Of course. I mean, his celebrity status is a huge part of that. However, anybody leaving prison who's killed somebody is going to have barriers of certain types of work they can get. You know, you have a DBS here in the UK, you wouldn't be able to get certain types of work if you've committed the crime he does. So the fact that he thinks he can, I think, shows that he's still quite arrogant in his behaviour.
So if you were a psychologist advising him, what sort of advice would you give him about reintegrating, about setting standards, about trying to make that transition from incarceration into the world of work?
Well, I think if I was a psychologist working with him, we would be trying to look at his offence. He may have gone under, I don't know what work he's done in prison, but he's still showing no signs that he is admitting what he did. So he still to this day denies. So I think offence-focused work is really important to be doing with him. So, and that helped the family. And if it helped the family, I think maybe society then would look back and say, okay, he realises what he's done. He's making amends. He's doing the work to reduce his risk in the future. At the moment, is he still a risk to future women? Probably.
Well, I mean, the evaluation of the court, and he served his sentence, is that he's not a future risk. I mean, it has to be that people who come out of prison have a future the other side.
Absolutely, and that's the work that I do. That's what I've been doing for the last 25 years, and I've worked with many people that have committed serious offences, but actually when they're released, the work that they've done has reduced their risk, and they are able then to go on and work as part of society.
I guess there's actually a risk to Oscar Pistorius. I mean, no one's going to be feeling sort of sympathy or empathy for him whatsoever. But, he presumably is vulnerable now he's been released from prison in whatever working role he takes on because of who he is and the crimes he committed and his, worldwide profile.
Yeah, I think there'll be risk to him because of who he is. There'll also be people that still you know, are fans of his. So he'll have both sides of that. He'll be more of a risk than the average person, but also he still has kind of that celebrity status where people still, you know, are fans of his.
And Keri, just in your experience of working with clients that you've said in the past who have served time, who you then reintegrate into the broader world, what is the cut through? What is the thing that actually makes it work? Is it actually dealing with the crime, admitting that crime, moving on in your life? How do you actually approach that?
That's a huge question. We look at, by doing a formulation, we look at what led to them offending. We work on that. That might include working on the offence itself, working on using different programs to reduce their risk, looking at factors, things like, is there substance abuse issues, is there employment issues, is there accommodation issues, making sure that we can reduce all those risk factors to help them live a life free of offending.
So, Keri, in practical terms, what job could Oscar Pistorius do?
Well, he's got a criminal history now, so there will be, you know, certain communities that he can't work with if it's the same as it is in the UK. So obviously anything where he needs a DBS check, obviously it'll be a different system in South Africa. I think he probably just needs to reduce his expectations and realise that he's probably going to be doing an average job.
But, and just, sorry, what type of job?
Well, I know he's been volunteering at his local church, hasn't he, where he's been doing kind of bits of, you know, fixing up the church, a manual job. I think that, you know, there's probably huge amounts of work available to him, but saying what that work will be, I don't think he's ever going to go back to working. Obviously, he's not going to go back and working as an athlete, but I'd be working at what he thinks in terms of that with the organisation. He can't work with children if it's the same as it is here in the UK, because he'll have those restrictions on him. So it's going to have to be a pretty standard job where a 9 to 5 going and working as the majority of us do.
And Keri, I think you make a great point there is about managing expectation and being humble and taking any job that you can get. Thank you so much, Dr. Keri Nixon there.